Namaste. On behalf of our chairperson Priya Gazdar and her committee, I, Sujita Chityala, Honorary Secretary of Flow Hyderabad, extend a warm welcome to our inspirational speakers, Dr. TESSY Thomas and Ms. KALPANA KALAHASTHI, our distinguished past chairs and fellow Flow members. May I now request everyone to please rise for the national anthem. I kindly request photographers to refrain from clicking pictures during the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
I request Flow Chairperson Priya Gazdar, Y-Flow Chairperson Riddhi Jain, our distinguished speakers, and Flow past chairs Hina, Jyotsna, Monica, Usha, Ritu to step forward for lamp lighting. As we light this lamp, may its glow symbolize the illumination of knowledge, inspiration, and positivity. I request the Core Committee 2024-25, followed by the Executive Committee, to join for the picture. Chairperson Priya Gazdar will now deliver her welcome address.
Namaste. Speakers of the day, Dr. TESSY Thomas and Ms. KALPANA KALAHASTHI, past chairpersons, special invitees, the change makers, and my dear Flow members. Years ago, anthropologist Margaret Mead was asked what she considered as the first sign of civilization. Her reply was, a thigh bone that had been broken and then healed. She explained that in the animal kingdom, a broken leg means sure death, as the injured animal can neither run from danger nor scour for food. A healed thigh bone, on the other hand, is evidence that someone took the time out to nurse the injured back to health. Helping someone through a difficulty is where civilization starts, Mead said, and Flow teaches us the same, that we are at our best when we serve others. So thanks to each one of you here for being so willing and so giving at all times. The weeks since the change of guard at Hyderabad on 21st April have been packed with activity. We attended the change of guard at Delhi and the first governing body meeting. It was a proud moment indeed to note that Flow Hyderabad has one of the highest representations in the national governing body. Our blueprint for the year was well received. And here it is for all those who could not attend the change of guard ceremony earlier. Video, please. Given Flow Hyderabad's multifaceted member profile, we have planned a sector-wise schedule divided into networking events, economic impact programs for members, and social initiatives for grassroots women and girls. Our economic impact initiatives include efforts in the areas of startup and incubation, bilateral overseas trade opportunities, digital and financial literacy, and training in public speaking. Our social impact initiatives include skills training for women and girls, multi-pronged intervention in the weavers clusters of Telia Rumal and Golabhama, training women farmers in commercial vegetable farming, and health interventions for women and girls. Style Tattva is off to a flying start with 75% of the 200 stalls booked already and 55% of the curation being totally new. Kudos to the team. Do call our team if you or any of your friends and family would like to be part of Style Tattva. Our first quarter is packed with learning and upskilling opportunities, some of which we have already kickstarted. Growth Forge, our startup and incubation team, facilitated the attendance of our members at a presentation by a German delegation on exploring German-Indian collaborative opportunities in the tech and tech-enabled sectors. Our first round of membership interviews were held on 3rd, and we have an intake of 50 new members from the same. The second round of interviews are scheduled for the first week of May. Do encourage friends and family you think are a good fit with Flow to apply for membership. Our first social impact program was organized by the EduSkill team at Mehboobia Government Girls' School yesterday. 96 ninth grade girl students learned about stress-free exam preparation. Our member, Chandini Agarwal, was selected for the Stanford Seed Spark program facilitated by the National Startup Cell. Congratulations, Chandini, for making it from amongst hundreds of participants. I urge all members to make use of the Flow Hyderabad marketplace platform to advertise your brand of products and services to a niche audience. Flow Business League is another way to pitch your business to our members, where you get to address the audience directly. Upcoming in April is the first Why Flow event, Shattering Stereotypes. The orientation for Mindshare, our creative narrative program, guided by a TEDx curator and advisor. This program is a not-to-be-missed opportunity for all those who wish to own the stage. Outstanding speakers also stand a chance to be featured on the prestigious TEDx platform. So go for it. The orientation is on the 13th. We'll be sending out the Google form soon. The Google Spark workshop is also coming up, as well as an industrial visit to Azad Engineering, a manufacturer of mission and life-critical components for the aerospace, defense, energy, and oil and gas sectors. It's renewal time, dear members, so please make sure to pay your annual fee ASAP so that you can continue to enjoy all that we curate for you without any interruption. And I'm elated to share that 95% of the Working Committee 2024-25 has renewed the membership already. Thank you, Changemakers. Over the next few months, we will be fully transitioning to the Flow app, so please download it on your mobiles and get access to Flow news at a click. The committee and I would like to thank the mentors of the year in advance for all the support and guidance that they will be offering to us through the year. At this juncture, I would like to launch our Digital Ready Reckoner, a document that can be accessed by all our members to identify women-centric schemes offered by MSME and in specific by Government of Telangana. I request National MSME Mentor and past Chair Usharani Manne, MSME Team Lead Neha Reddy, members Soumya Rao and Himasaila to please step up to the girls had been at it for the last 2 months, and it was my desire to launch it today, and they made it happen in coordination with the ministry. So I am really, really happy, and this gives me a lot of confidence about the year ahead. I've got a wonderful team of change makers. Can I give them a big round of applause? The other teams have been busy too. Like you saw, EduSkill, we started yesterday, membership team, that happened, Growth Forge, that happened. And now the cushions that you see here today are the result of forward linkage with our KALPANA Weavers cluster, with whom we will be working very closely through the year. And for this, I have some very great news coming, but I will wait for it and declare it when the papers are ready. Before I conclude, I must thank our illustrious speakers, Dr. TESSY Thomas and Kalpana Kalahasthi, for joining us here today. They were my plan A to Z for the first event. I had no plan B. And the universe conspired to make it happen because मैंने बहुत शिद्दत से, दिल से उनको pursue किया. I hounded them. And they are here. Thank you, Dr. TESSY. Thank you, Kalpana, for so graciously accepting and being here despite your schedule. I know how busy they are. Kalpana had to take calls throughout. Only lunchtime was free for her. And I barely gave her 5 minutes. They were so humble, so nice. Initially, this program was scheduled to happen at T-Hub, but then I realized there were some logistical issues there. And when I told them that the venue is very close to where I live at that time, they said, we'll just come home. You can feed us lunch. And that's what we did. So they came home, we had lunch together, we came in the car together, and here they are, the stars of the evening, the stars of India. Thank you so much.
May I request Dr. TESSY Thomas, Ms. Kalpana Kalahasthi to join Priya on the dais. Priya will now felicitate Dr. TESSY Thomas and Ms. Kalpana Kalahasthi with flow memento. Dr. TESSY Thomas, a distinguished scientist and Director General at DRDO, is renowned for her pioneering work in missile technology, with a stellar academic background, including a BTech in electrical engineering, an ME in guided missiles, an MBA in operations management, and a PhD in missile guidance. She has been at the forefront of India's defense research for over 3 decades. Dr. Thomas has led groundbreaking projects for the Agni 4 and Agni 5 missile systems, which have earned her prestigious awards like the DRDO Technology Leadership Award and the Lokmanya Tilak National Award, amongst several more. Welcome, Ms. Dr. TESSY. Ms. Kalpana Kalahasthi, an Associate Project Director of Chandrayaan-3, led the successful soft landing of Chandrayaan-2 on the lunar surface, making India the 4th country to achieve this feat and the first to land near the lunar South Pole. Her various roles at ISRO since 1999 include Project Manager for Indian Mini Satellite and YouthSat, Deputy Project Director for Saral Satellite, and Associate Project Director for Chandrayaan-2. She also worked on various remote sensing satellite missions. She is conferred International Women's Day Award by Delhi Commission and has been recognized with numerous awards, including the Indian of the Year Award from NDTV just last week. Welcome, Ms. Kalahasthi. I now request Chairperson Priya to take the much-awaited session forward.
Thank you, Sujata. So I have a list of questions for both of you, but you're free to veer away from whatever I'm asking you if it is sensitive information. Let's start with you, Dr. TESSY. So on one hand, Missile Man of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. On the other, Missile Woman of India, Dr. TESSY Thomas. How does it feel to share this honor with a man of such mountainous stature? And how was it to work with him, to be handpicked by him, and to be trained by him?
I'm really honored and very much humbled to hear the missile man of India. He was my guru too. I was fortunate to join as an young scientist under Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He was the director. And having worked for these many years in the missile field, I came with a degree in MTech guided missiles. So what we could learn from Dr. Kalam is that he is a very simple person. And he is one person who has inspired the whole scientific community world across. It's not even within our country. He's the one who has inspired many youngsters and ignited the young generation when he was the president of the country. And he had this is something what we learned from him. That's what I feel. And Missile Women of India is just a name which has come having worked for these many years this way. Thank you.
But I think that is again a humbleness that you have learned from him. I think you've imbibed the best of qualities from him.
No, he really taught us how to be focused and to be goal-oriented. He always says, this is the responsibility or this is the work what we have to do. He taught us a lot. I mean, I can say my life journey of learning was there. A lot of impact on our life. The simplicity with which he lived as a scientist. We have learned a lot. This whole scientific community has learned from ISRO as well as DRDO. Was fortunate to learn from him. That's it.
Okay, so now Kalpana, for you. Yeah. So how is it possible for India to build a moon lander in less than a fraction of what it costs to make a medium budget Hollywood movie? So is it financial discipline? Is it better resource mobilization? Or is it just the famous Indian jugaad?
I think it's in our blood. Being frugal is, it's in our blood. So, and okay, to be more specific to your question, see, you already mentioned optimal resource utilization is the first key point, I would say. Because what we try to do is, yes, we have been given an objective. You have to demonstrate soft landing on lunar surface. We know what we have. Our resource availability, we know. What is our rocket capability, we know. What is our other resource availability with respect to facilities, everything we know. So when we build a project report, that's how we start a project. So we try to list out what are all the requirements for making this mission happen. So we try to look at it, what needs to be done newly, what is already available, and we try to optimally list out the requirements and come out with a budget when we make a proposal itself. So that way, if you see, for example, to give you an example, we know what is the launch vehicle, the best launch vehicle, what we have, we know what is our capability. Of course, it's one of the best among the world. See, GSLV Mark III, it can carry up to 4 ton weight to the GTO. So with this, and we know to reach moon, how much of mass you have to utilize. So there are different approaches. We can go one shot, we can reach the moon, or with the available launch vehicle, we can adopt a different strategy. So that's how we went, if you remember the trajectory, how it was. We went around the earth, there were different maneuvers, and then we did a slingshot maneuver. We tried to utilize the earth's gravity itself as one of the aiding source, and then we adopted a different approach. So that way, if you see, using the available resources, adopt a different strategy, but still achieve the goal. So first thing, what, as you said, is optimal resource utilization. And for example, when we went for Chandrayaan 3, already you know Chandrayaan 2, we did make an attempt. So when we go for Chandrayaan 3, we know like already we have established certain facilities. So it's not required that again you do something new. So what you need to upgrade with respect to that. That much is adequate. All these we have to very cautiously look at it and build the resource requirements. So I think all these approaches what we adopt. That is like, I think like a simple example I can say like you have everything at home, you cook your own food, what it costs, you know, and if you're going to order it outside, you know what it costs. So we have the resources, we have our own launch vehicle, we have our own satellite, we can build our satellite, we have our own ground segment. See, these are the three major components of any satellite mission. So all these three we have established. So we are self-sufficient enough, and yes, we have our manpower, that is the biggest asset of ISRO. So all this is available, only how you strategize it and how you build the mission matters. So that's it to put it in a nutshell.
Thank you so much. So I see why India is doing so well in the space program, and I think the whole world is watching, especially when you said the slingshot and the maneuvers. I think it was like straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Because many people used to, if you remember in the media, it used to be that, yeah, we had the Luna 25 mission. In a week's time, just before our Chandrayaan 3, there was a Luna 25 mission. But it reached within almost 8-10 days, I think. That was the plan for them. So it doesn't matter how you go, like how you achieve the goal only matters. You can have different strategies.
Thank you. Dr. TESSY, maybe not so much today, but when you stepped into the world of missiles, it would have been a very unusual and daring choice for you. So what was the reaction of your family, of your peers?
Yeah, that time was even a girl child thinking of engineering itself was looked at with a different eye. Then, but my parents were very supportive, and coming from Kerala, there's always chance to go for higher education. So that's why I went for the engineering. And from there, I could take some subjects like radar systems for military applications, which gave an insight into some of the defense areas, and saw advertisement for the MTech in guided missiles by DRDO. So I was chosen as one of the 10 for this course through a written exam.
So what inspired you to think of missiles in the first place?
Yeah, if you ask me from childhood, I was interested in science, maths. That was my passion, and was fortunate to witness few of the sounding rockets from Tumba. We have relatives in Trivandrum. So that gave us, fascinated how these things are happening. And as I used to run out of the house when an aeroplane flies, comes out and see how the plumes, the trail of plumes there, giving a mark on the sky. Just to wonder, these were some of the passion and there, an opportunity which led to take up this MTech in guided missiles. After that, it was DRDO and the missile and the missile. That's the way it went.
So if it is not very sensitive, can I ask you something?
Yes.
How closely do you have to work with Mr. Doval and his whole team?
He is the present National Security Advisor. Our reporting channel goes up to him, like and PMO, Defense Minister, and so they are part of our main National Security Advisor to Prime Minister.
So do you at times advise him?
Yeah, we all go through, they are there in our reviews, like systems of Agni class, a strategic weapon. The main scenario comes from the government. Government tells what to be done. So it's part of our country's requirement.
Kalpana, from start to end, can you quickly take us through the steps involved in Chandrayaan 3 mission? And generally, for how long can a payload be a guest on the moon?
You've asked quickly. It's a decade journey, actually. Still, okay, maybe at least I can give you a feel of what was involved. See, if you see, space missions have always been challenging. So, ISRO started off, the beginning was very humble. If you would have looked at some classic pics of scientists carrying the rocket parts in bicycle, that was how it began, right, in 1960s. And in a church in Trivandrum, a father was kind enough to give a place. That's how ISRO's journey started. And we started building satellites rockets and supporting ground station. That's how these are all required. So rockets, we know, like it started with the SLV, satellite launch vehicle, ASLV, PSLV, GSLV. We started building different class of rockets. Similarly, satellites, if you say, we started with Aryabhatta was the first satellite anyway, but we have different class of satellites. So we have first remote sensing satellites, we say, that is you put a satellite around Earth to look at Earth and study different parameters like be it climate, weather monitoring, for cartography or ocean monitoring. These are all, you call it as remote sensing satellites. And then you have communication satellites for a specific purpose of communication. This is when our seniors were visionaries that they did not stop with it. They thought we should have a interplanetary mission, and that's how Chandrayaan program started. So first mission was Chandrayaan 1. So Chandrayaan 1, if you see, sending a satellite to moon and orbit around moon. That is called an orbiting satellite. It's just, it has to orbit around the moon, but this was also challenging because first time we are going to moon. Moon is 4 lakh kilometers away from us. So you have to travel again with whatever launch vehicle. That time we had PSLV. With PSLV itself, we made it happen. That was it's a phenomenal approach and success. First time we had succeeded. And it also gave a very good science, particularly finding of water availability in the moon surface. That was the first very important finding from Chandrayaan 1. That's when, again, we don't stop. We are always thinking big, right? So that's when the next objective given was Chandrayaan 2, that is a landing mission. So landing, when you say, that's the difference between 1 and 2. So we were orbiting, now we have to go and land on moon. When I say landing, it's soft landing. So you can imagine, you have to take a craft from Earth, reach moon, and when it is reached moon and it is orbiting, it is with a high velocity. Like a craft when it goes around a planetary body, it's going with a high velocity or speed, what you say. So it's 1.6 kilometer per second. You have to kill the velocity and you have to touch down slowly. Only when you soft land will all the electronics or the associated systems will be safe. So if you are dropping a stool from say 20th floor, it is going to break. So what it has to be safe means you have to ensure that it has to softly land on the surface. So this is the challenge of actually Chandrayaan 2 and 3, 2 when we started. So you have to kill the velocity, but the challenge here is moon does not have atmosphere. So if you have atmosphere, you can have some balloon sort of thing and parachute and you can try to kill, it's not there. So you need to have some different systems. So like you have to use only the engines to kill the velocity. You have to brake and break the velocity and touch down. And the gravity is different there. The gravity is not at all symmetrical. So like that, a lot of challenges are there in soft landing. That was the objective given when we started Chandrayaan 2, and we had to build everything starting from scratch because it's something different from the usual satellites we used to build. But we did all that. We built completely whatever new technologies, and what you need to observe is everything was, we did not import a single technology. So everything was indigenously built in our own ISRO labs. So that was the approach what we adopted. It was a perfect example for a Make in India product actually. So that's how we started. We built all the technologies and testing. You imagine what has to happen on moon, we have to test it on Earth. The environment is different here, that environment is different. So you have to create somewhat equivalent, whatever possible, the velocities. We used to take the lander equivalent on airplane, that aircraft we used to take, do a lot of tests, all that we did. But finally on that day what you saw was actually we could not achieve. 2019 when we attempted Chandrayaan 2, first time soft landing, we could not achieve soft landing, and towards the end there were some anomalies and it crash landed. So it was 5 years of hard work, whatever put with utmost sincerity and commitment, it really did not happen. But that is not where we stopped. Whatever we have taken up, we have to complete. That's how Chandrayaan 3, again we started, some 3 to 4 months we completely dwelt on understanding what really went wrong. So that was the first step what we took. So this complete Chandrayaan 2 to 3 is the best example for resilience, I would say, because failure is something, when we think of something very big, we know this mission is, the goal is very challenging. So when we think of such a goal, we have to do our best, but whatever happens, we should not settle with that. So because only when we stop is failure, as long as we are trying, the mission is on. So that's how Chandrayaan 3 we started. And this time, yes, but you have to, when we do again, second time, you all can imagine the pressure or the responsibilities even more on the shoulders.
Yeah, and the whole world is watching.
Watching. So sometimes, no, some failures, it happens within four walls. But this is not so. What we saw, the whole world also has seen.
Most probably, most of the world didn't want us to succeed.
No, I don't think so. I think the scientific community will always wish for success. But next time when we
This is a
started,
layman's understanding.
but next time when we started, what I feel, this is applicable for anyone who venture into any of this thing. Now we have to have a different strategy. We have to understand. First thing, dwell on what happened actually, dwell on the failure, where we went wrong. That analysis is very important, I feel like. We did that to start with. So we analyzed the data. We built a stronger lander, because more intelligent lander we built, which has to handle, because the complete thing is an autonomous thing. We built it, we tested, and then once again we went, and you all would have watched it live. That was...
And what a proud moment that was.
Yeah. And one point is Chandrayaan 3 is more relevant for this audience also, because it's a very good example, because this team, it's a best example for team effort, but our team is a mix of men and women together actually. It's like starting from project directors, men, associate project director, I'm a man, and the whole team has men and women, girls and boys of all ages. So it's a very good example for teamwork, and that's how even our Honorable Prime Minister named that landing point as Shiva Shakti Point. So which rightly indicates that it's a culmination of teamwork from both men and women put together. So it's very much applicable for this audience also.
So I'll just ask one question. So we all watched PM Modi consoling ISRO chief, Mr. Shivan, after Chandrayaan 2. So what's the team sentiment when something like that happens, things don't go as planned? How do you keep it together?
It is difficult. See, we are all human, and when we have really put in our best efforts, for that moment or for a period, it's very difficult to come to terms. But that's okay, that's human. But after that, yes, we know what we need to do. So that's how we have to come back. So the way we come back is what is important. Team, if you say like our team are actually, they are all self-motivated. There's not much of what you call as slogans or jargons. It's not that we never used such thing, because our team itself is basically self-motivated. So we know what we have to do. So the second, whatever the unfinished, we have to finish. That is there in all our minds. Only thing sometimes, like whatever, particularly when we do big tests are there, like it's in a campaign mode, we go out, do it on a helicopter. We plan certain things. But there are moments, many moments are there when it doesn't go as planned. Because lot of involvement is there in such tests, and when it doesn't happen, that time we have to keep our team together, and it's not like a formal motivating words or anything, just being together itself. Like for us, whoever, when we play the pivotal role, I feel the best thing is we have to be the example of what we expect from them. So I think that itself is enough. We are all together and we are there along with them on the floor. That itself is a big motivating factor. I feel more than words, example is the best way to motivate.
Absolutely. The basics of management principles, and I think it's in the DNA of both ISRO and DRDO. Dr. TESSY, has the number of women in defense science, avionics, in these kind of areas gone up today in STEM, right? And are they occupying positions at par with men? Maybe I'm not asking the very right question here, but we would like to know what's the future of STEM for girls, because we work a lot with young girls.
Yeah, when I joined, it was maybe 1 or 2% of women in as joining in DRDO itself. But now things are different. It's 12 to 15%, and you see, as she mentioned, like today, ISRO and DRDO has many scientists who are at a very senior level, technologically leading. Like technology directors or project directors of major projects, directors of the lab, and as director general of the lab. I think they are now leading from the front. So this is, if you think earlier, it was now the people were not there. But slowly it has evolved, the system has evolved, and scientists, like I have been always saying that science has no gender. It's the knowledge what it matters, and that is what is happening in ISRO as well as any of the scientific organizations. This support is there. We work as a team, all are equally dedicated and knows the responsibility, so we all work together, men and the women. I think that's the way it goes.
As a defense scientist, Dr. TESSY, you would have had to keep your missions, what you're doing, your position under wraps as a well-guarded secret for most part of your career. So what keeps motivating you to keep researching, to keep innovating on a daily basis when you can't talk about it, when you can't even, forget about bragging about it, when you can't even talk about it to others?
Yeah, it's very true. She also will agree. First 15 to 20 years, even my immediate relatives also were not knowing what work I am in DRDO, that much only was known. Because I was involved in the guidance, development of guidance for the Agni class of missiles, where to launch a nuclear weapon. And if anybody hears, it's again totally indigenous effort. No technology will be given. We were all working for first of its kind technologies. First to try, sometimes at times first to fail also. So that's the way we have learned and hands-on experience from this test and designs. And then we have learned a lot. So that is what in a rough and tough way we can say. Started the project where great visionaries like Dr. Kalam and the leaders, they felt that India has to have certain weapon potential. So that's why 5 missile projects, all tactical to strategic systems, were taken up. And within 15 to 20 years, we started getting into realization of the products, and then now fully inducted into the services. So potential which was not, it was not even possible that we didn't have a manufacturing system. Even to make a machining of 1 meter diameter sheets or aluminum sheets, that capability was not there in the country. That was the time when we were asked to make missiles of 1 meter diameter and 2 meter diameter. Things were designed at that point of time. But then built-in capabilities within, and then within years we have made it happen. That's the way total dedication and responsibility comes. We all work for first of its kind and then do. Motivation means, Dr. Kalam used to say, fail is first attempt in learning. So he says, but first time, no second time. We'll show like this. So that was the way we were all geared up, like even if nobody is going to give you the technology. That's the way the onboard computers, design of guidance laws. And if you name anything of Agni, it's all on a total embargo. So things were, and we couldn't even tell where we were working and all, where we are going also on. So it was it's a really challenging job to work for our nation's security involved projects.
I think.
Yeah.
Well said.
So inspiring. Kalpana is nodding her head and agreeing to it.
Exactly, because
It is,
it's a
yeah.
lot of commonalities, as Madam
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
When we went for the second time, like, there's a lot of, yes, we have to, 200% we have to succeed is what is in our mind. But at the same time, when we are doing that, you can imagine what team will be going through, the discussions, what we have to use to have the brainstorming sessions. Always there, it is there, like, what if this fails, what if that also fails? Like, at times, it used to be some sort of paranoia, actually.
Yeah,
And we should not overdo also. That will again, it will complicate the system. So, you have to draw a line. So, these are the things what we go through, like, particularly when you're trying, you want to give the best, at the same time, you should not complicate the system. How do we configure and design and go ahead these are all the things what we go through when we are...
So, Kalpana, on that note, ISRO's offices, workshops, and the launch pads, all are spread out across the country. So how do you manage to keep the team together? How do you manage this whole pan-India operation seamlessly? Because it has to come together flawlessly for that soft landing to happen.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest challenges of project management here. As you said, ISRO structure itself is like that. We have centers spread across the country, and the experts of the team, our team structure itself is like that. We have different experts, your thermal experts, structures, mechanism, whatever you call, propulsion, sensors. They are not just under one building. Yes, all are under ISRO umbrella, but all are spread across different cities and centers. So, but all are working towards one common goal. Goal is very clear, defined. And the challenge is, that is one of the important challenges of project management, but it all starts from starting with how you define the goals very clearly, how you define the specification very clearly, how you define the interfaces very clearly. All this is actually comes with, again, team meetings. The more you discuss, the more you keep the team together. It's not required that now we have technology has improved a lot. Before, any meeting used to be physical meeting. I remember like a big meeting, 100 people used to assemble in one conference hall, and everyone used to travel all the way and come. That's how it, now technology has improved. A lot of team meetings are there online. So, but you have to be connected, and every aspect has to be well discussed, written down. I think this understanding, making things clear first for the team towards what they have to do itself is very important. And change is inevitable in a project. What you write generally doesn't necessarily happen. Changes during the course of the project, changes are likely to happen. But again, that change control mechanism, how you seamlessly flow the data among the team who are physically spread across. I think keeping the team together in terms of meetings and your documents are the strength, I feel, when it technical interface documents. Once the understanding is clear with respect to what is happening, and continuous or very frequent interactions, I think this is what is our responsibility as a pivotal role when we play, keeping the team together. I feel this is very essential for proper team functioning. So we adopt all these methodologies.
Dr. TESSY, most of the time, researchers deal with the unknown, right? And it can be quite a destabilizing factor, especially if things are not going as planned. And so assuming that most scientists have a very high IQ, in such cases, how important is emotional intelligence, that emotional quotient, not only for themselves, but for the team, to rally with the team, to, to support them, to say, okay, this is okay, we'll go on from here and see what's going to happen. Because you've put in years of work, not just weeks or months of work.
It's to do with emotional intelligence, means to do with the deal with the situation, basically. Deal with the ambiguities. And it's again like you yourself has to manage the feeling, your own feelings, and the person, the other person, at the same time. Simultaneously you have to handle. That's where the emotional intelligence comes. So like a project when we are working, and if a failure happens, the team gets totally demotivated, stressed. They're really stressed because we go into an island to launch our missiles, and we are told not even to tell within the family also that we are going for the project, for the launch, till the notum is issued by the government. We should not propagate that we are going for a launch. So altogether the scientists are really stressed when you go, and if things doesn't work as planned, then they are totally demoralized, in the sense they come back, then years of, as you mentioned, it's more than 5 years of efforts for a mission for the first time when we are going through. Then the role of project directors, the management comes in, where we need to bring them back, regroup them and motivate. So as she mentioned, it's not motivating by words or something, being with them, and that our work which has happened over these years, we have to prove. Finally we have to achieve and every scientist is groomed to their responsibility, and the dedication, the commitment is always there. So they come back, and we, as a leader, we have to get them together and work together to achieve till we succeed. That's the way we are all. And it happens in DRDO. It's the same like ISRO also. We are all nurtured, or we are all feeling that we have to make it happen, whether it's first of its kind of technology. And it's always, we take up the things which are not available in the country. So that's the way we go. Everybody gets we have to raise their emotional intelligence coefficient part, in the sense by giving them the opportunity to come back and put them together and be with them. That's the main thing.
I think this resilience is what has put India firmly in the space program. Thank you to DRDO and ISRO. I think wonderful work is happening. We can only watch, and we can't understand how much of work goes behind, but we can kind of fathom that it takes years, and it takes years of giving and giving and giving.
It's really like whether girl or boy. Maybe midnight we are going through a test, and we as a project director, we say we'll stop it, we'll start tomorrow. But whether the women scientists also, they say, no madam, we will complete it. They need to see that their systems are working. That's why they continue and stay till midnight, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and they are sent back home. Next day morning at 9 o'clock, they're back. Sometimes people only go to change dress and come back. That's the type of, I can't tell, I don't know, this is the way it happens even there also, because so much dedicated.
Exactly.
So I won't even ask work-life balance question. I know there is no work-life balance. The seesaw is always heavy on the side of work, but that is what.
But one thing, the women rises above all boundaries. I think home front as well as career, they take it, gives so much importance, so much. I don't think that I have missed out anything like cooking for my house. My morning, I may get up slightly early, do all the things if commitment at the office is there. That's the way we have seen. And maybe coming back late night. But that's whatever we are supposed to do, we don't leave that responsibility to anyone else. There's always supporting atmosphere at home. Husband as well as family is there. My only one son, he was also knowing what I am doing. My husband was from naval background, naval officer. So he also knows what I am working for. So this support system is there. I think we can do wonderful things, both at home as well as
support system, Kalpana?
Definitely, like you can imagine the quantum of work and also what we have gone through. I've gone through, when I say me, I refer to even all other women colleagues of my team. Because this support system only has made it happen. Because wherever we are, as Madam said, we may do, like we may have some support at home, be in the name of a cook, or we have a support system at home, but there is always this biological thread connected for us. Like exactly like this is I think what we try to do. I don't know, in the process we overstress ourselves or what really happens to ourselves, but we cannot let go of. See, this exactly at the time our mind tells, okay, whether they have come, whether they have done it, we never miss to do that, right? Like this biological thread is what keeps connecting it always. We keep thinking there, and at the same time, but how we execute without that tension or what is happening is at home is the support system. Husband, children, parents, when they rightly come, and my daughter has almost grown, as I was sharing with you, complete Chandrayaan 2 and 3, almost she has grown. There were critical moments like her exams and other things. My family came and provided the necessary. My sister was there to take care. My mother came. Like, I think all this only helps us to deliver our work at the workplace, because when we have to concentrate there, this should not be there in our mind. Only then we can deliver our best. So I feel family plays a very important role in supporting us.
I think Everyone here would agree with that. So, Kalpana, planetary colonization, or at least planetary tourism, is a recurring theme in most of our science fiction books and movies and everything. So, is any real work happening towards it in India, in ISRO or DRDO? Anybody can answer the question.
What is happening is a step towards that only. It's like you call it baby step or what step. It is already first. See, that's how our roadmap is laid. So for colonization, first we have to reach there. To reach there, first you go there. Now we have landed. Next we'll plan for a sample return, like go and bring back something. Then you send a human there, establish a base there. So it is a step-by-step process. It cannot happen all of a sudden. So because this is a very advanced technology what we are trying to do. So we are in the right track. You call it space tourism or colonization. But what is required, we are doing that. See, we are very grateful to our forefathers, visionaries who started the space program. That's how the baby steps started and we are here today. That day many would have questioned our leaders when we got our independence and we are trying to ensure our basic amenities are met. Someone thought of a space program. Yeah. And now we have reached the moon. We have landed on moon. I think we are thankful to our visionaries who have started this. So that's also sure to happen. We are in the track.
Right track.
So which planet do you think will reach first?
Planet Mars. Already we have, our Mangalyaan we have orbited. With respect to landing, yes, Mars is more interesting and a lot of things to know. Life would have happened from whatever signatures we have got. All probabilities are there that life would have existed and now life is not there now. So a lot of curiosities are there in knowing this. So Mars is interesting.
So much of imagination is happening in our movies and books and all. Is there a thread of reality in there? Do you all pick anything from there? Any idea?
Oh, it's a reverse process here.
Because there's so much out there. The other day also, I think there is a 3-body problem or something like that on TV. I think everybody is watching. And the moment I said this at home, my son immediately told me, you have to watch that.
Yeah, correct.
So
you should see the quality of the movies. I think they have a team of scientists also working along with them. It's not just movie directors or the musicians or the actors.
I believe
there are a pool of scientists because the way, for example, even the Interstellar movie, I remember the way the black hole and whatever was designed, it seems that there was a perfect calculation towards the sizing of that. So a lot of physicists were involved in that. So the whole movie making process itself has changed, refined, and it is more and more scientific now.
So you agree there's some scientist working with the director or
they
like
to
the
make it
script
more
writer.
and to make it, that is very much essential. Otherwise now your son, for example, itself is so knowledgeable to look at certain things. Then they should also be worried about how audience is going to look at it. They cannot make grave mistakes. So I think they are quite cautious and they have good amount of interactions with scientists and physicists.
Do you want to add something, Dr. Tessie, to that?
No, it's a fact. It's a fact what she said. So,
Dr. Tessie, if you had to pick one defining moment in your career, which one would it be? And can you share that story with us?
it's definitely the journey of me as a project director for Agni 4. So I was given that world across, there's a difference in our range capability. Agni 1, 2 and 3 we completed. Agni 3 with a 50-ton launch mass, we are reaching only 3,000 kilometers. So probably you change one of the rocket stage, the lower rocket stage, if you change, probably we may be able to get a higher range. That was the first way as I was designated. But when I started working on the configuration design, making the stage, staging and all, that I couldn't make with one stage alone. So from the tip of the missile to bottom of the missile, the total reconfiguring. So it is, I had to slice it accordingly and get the configuration done. Then that was a time when carbon fiber was not available within the country. we had, NAL was started developing few of the carbon fiber. Then the technology at world class, we are using either Kevlar based or a carbon fiber based composite rocket motor casing, where we will, with respect to steel, you will get a benefit of weight reduction of the order of 30 to 40%. The casing weight will come down. So I was asked to take up, you have to launch Agni 4 with composite rocket motor technology. And the fibers, the raw material for it is not available in the country. So the quantity what was required, the quality, aerospace quality component, then run across the country from NAL to all the manufacturing places who can take up. We have built the industry to take up this, and we could succeed in another 5 years' time, a composite rocket motor technology in the country first time, and a world class. And with that, with less than half the weight of Agni 3, Agni 3 was 50 ton going up to 3000, and Agni 4 was 22 ton as the launch mass and reached up to 4000. And with all the technologies of world class, the avionics totally changed. That was the first time. Till then we were using all analog systems. We have switched over to digital controllers, the programming, the guidance, everything had its own first of its kind, and that was a challenge given to me. Then after building up the rocket, the whole missile with composite stage, and we are going through reviews, as she mentioned, more than 100 to 200 expert scientists within the country from ISRO, all across the scientific world is there. And you are explaining, then somebody says, this composite rocket motor is going to get into kinetic heating problem when it is going through high velocity, and there can be melting of the component, like compass casing. So that day after the review, when I went, I couldn't sleep. I was seeing the missile going up and carbon fibers falling off. It was a nightmare. That I can't forget that. Come back and then had a lot of discussion with ISRO and all for the thermal protection. We had to go with the thermal coating and then only take up. The challenge for Agni 4 was really unique and classic, but proving that system gave the step for the Agni 5, where we had gone with through 2 stages of composite rocket motor casing, and with the same 50-ton launch mass from 3,000 kilometers, we could achieve 5,000 kilometers. That's the way we went around. So that journey was not so simple, but challenging. I had to take it on my shoulder as the whole responsibility.
Wonderful, ma'am. And if I had to ask you that, but I'm deleting Chandrayaan 3 out of it. Keeping that aside, because we know what a monumental success that was. If we kept that aside, what was the defining moment in your career?
Oh, you have taken out that.
Because there would be other missions that we don't know about, because this is the one that all of us know about. So I just want you to bring out that something that we don't know about.
Okay, maybe the first satellite which I had taken up also, I was a project manager in that. That was a first of its kind. It was a micro satellite actually, IMS, Indian miniaturization satellite actually. So that also had around some 29 new technologies which was built into it actually. So it was one of its kind. There also, as Madam said, many had challenged that certain things, this will not work or this is not really going to happen. So that way, that satellite building also was one of the very satisfying moments when it was launched, and it worked beautifully well. And that design is being utilized now for many of the satellites. It's being adopted. So that was one thing. But even if you take out, that is my defining. So that is one moment which I will cherish or just keep it in my mind for
no,
my
please.
lifetime.
I didn't want to deny you the opportunity to talk about it. I just wanted to hear the other side also before we went to Chandrayaan 3. So
particularly when we try something new, I think that is something which really, when it's going to, you design, you test it, particularly when it's being challenged by many people that it may not work, or you're taking a risk, that calculated risk when we take and you put your effort to that, and if it works, it's really a satisfying moment, whatever it may be. Chandrayaan is also one example for that. The scale is high, but similar to that, I feel like whatever new challenges you take, and when it is going to succeed, and when you cherish that success, I feel that is the thrill which gives for anyone. Like, I feel that is the thrill for anyone. There are many definitions for thrill now among the society, but I feel, but for particularly for the youngsters, you give them a project or a challenge, let them individually put the effort into that and let them succeed. You ask them what gives thrill, this or something else. I mean that opportunity should be given. That is what is, I feel, defining moment for anyone who take up.
And now I want you to tell us how it felt when you did that soft landing.
Actually, satisfaction is the first, I feel, that a sigh of relief. Yes, we have done it. I feel it's some, whatever our management has given us, that goal we have achieved. I feel that satisfaction or sigh of relief is what I would say. But if you ask exactly that second or moment, still we were trying to ascertain if everything is fine. Though all are clapping and cheering, we were looking at the data only. So we were looking, both myself and project director, Dr. Veeramuthuvil, we were there together. So we were looking at the data, see, because for us it has soft landed perfectly, means yes, the signals are continuing to arrive and all the telemetry data is available and system's health is fine. That defines yes, because any crash leads to system failure. You're not going to get the data, your communication will be lost and signal. So though all are clapping around, we are looking at the data. That is what was happening. Like we are trying to ensure, yes, it has happened. That's the thing.
So I have a question which is totally out of syllabus for me also. What do you think about alien life?
Aliens, it is a curiosity, like it may be there.
Are UFOs real? I mean, so many sightings are
No,
abduction sightings.
That curiosity or that only will drive us to think more and go identify if any exoplanets are there. If we are going to tell it doesn't exist, then there is no question mark at all. Like as long as that curiosity exists,
we have the chance to explore.
We only then will we explore. So I feel let us have that assumption or that it exists.
Why only Hrithik Roshan need to know?
You know, when she mentioned Hrithik Roshan, throughout this conversation for me, that Jadoo tune is going on in my mind. I think after this I have to sit in the car and get it out of my system. So we will quickly move to rapid fire.
Okay.
Dr. Tessie, you? One missile you wish you could have worked on from any era, could be Mahabharata or could be Ramayana, anywhere.
I will definitely say Agni. Agni and Agni, because I am Agni Putri also. So it's a real challenge. The type of missile is what we have made is that. So I still, in any Janmam, I'll work for Agni. Because I have a mission designer, I was a guidance designer, part of everything of the subsystems.
So what do you think of all our, the missiles that we talk about in our epics? Have you replicated any of those properties in any of our missile technology?
Come again?
Because we hear about so many special, what do you call it? Astras, weapons.
Astras.
So there are so many, and you know that this one does that.
Sammohanastra, Brahmastra.
Not Sammohanastra.
No, actually it is like nuclear warfare earlier. It's like if the child in the womb of a mother can also be destroyed by using those type of Sammohanastras, and it's what is read like. So the nuclear concept or using nuclear weapons has come out of some of these mythologies and
Yeah.
things like that.
So that was what I wanted to know.
So now Vijay Pushpak, no?
Yeah,
Pushpak
Pushpak is
Viman
there now.
going to
Recent one.
It's okay, we keep giving Agni, Prithvi, Akash, Astra, like missile names itself, you will know they are all derived out of some mythological names and all. Gets connected.
So first thought, when you hear the words missile technology, what or who comes to mind?
Yeah, it's again to be proud of protecting the country. National security comes as my mind.
One scientific breakthrough that you want to see during your lifetime?
My lifetime, I do not know. Like what we mentioned about seeing human being going to Mars, seeing a life of human in Mars. That's maybe great-grandchildren will do it. Definitely.
A favorite way to unwind for you?
I always get back from office, throw everything, switch on the TV. Thereafter it is TV. Whatever serial is available, I'll be seeing. But that's my way of unwinding, because there are occasions when I'm alone, like my husband was naval officer, as I said, different places of posting. So my day starts at home with that TV serials.
So which is your favorite, latest?
No, I don't have any favorite,
So
because
anything.
if you ask me what did you see yesterday, I won't be able to see. I will watch the girls or the ladies dressed up very nicely, different colorful. It's really unwinds you. That gives a good feeling. Yes, they are all there good. So even if you are not able to dress up like them, but we feel happy. That gives a positive energy. I'm not joking. It is like the thing how 100 people would have bothered you in the day. Things have not done and all. But the moment you reach home, you have to forget that and then see something which will take you to a place of feeling. Yes, there are saris from this state to that state, and really good. I feel very relieved from that. Then morning again fresh. Yeah, which sari to wear and take it and wear it and go. That is the way.
Very nice. So somewhere you are a little like us.
I think all of us are like that.
A habit or a mindset you think every scientist should develop?
It's dedication, first and foremost. Then as a habit, if you ask, it is not one. For a scientist especially, I'll say two. One is reading. One has to, as a scientist, you have to always update your knowledge. And knowledge is wealth. Secondly, I'll say it is to do with some time spent for your own body. That is the exercise part. Where again I'll say, health is wealth. That's the way one need to look at it.
I had actually written the last book you read or the one you're reading now, but you gave the answer with the serial saying you don't remember. Does that hold good for the book also?
Book, very recently I've heard about, read this Atomic Habits.
Yes.
By James Clear. I think it gives a lot of tiny capsules, like
Yes.
how you can change your habits, tiny change in the habits and remarkable results. That gives you slowly how, like I started reading because just seeing that, glancing it, I felt going through is because I felt I am senior citizen, so better know the steps to improve yourself. That's how.
Absolutely. I think it's a crowd favorite in recent times.
Yeah.
Finally, if you weren't a scientist, what would you be doing?
At that point, before getting admissions, it was all on a sudden. I didn't even have time to think when I completed my BTech. This written test had happened, and immediately, with one day at my house, I had to move for this MTech. Otherwise, I had an option to write for the civil service. That was one of my. But I got admitted for the MTech, and thereafter it's military rule. You can't even speak to anybody. So, no other test. When HAL I wanted to write, I mean, all my colleagues went for that, some 30 of them. I was also to go, couldn't go for writing that. But finally, in my end of my career as Director General of Aeronautical System, I was a board member of HAL. So I feel I keep telling them also. I wanted to join as a trainee there, but couldn't. So that's the way your journey takes through.
But the plane is here and the rocket is there, so I think you did much better.
I don't know, it's sometimes called destiny or... we were all driven to this, and there were great leaders, like visionary leaders or people within that, to guide us. We were all molded rightly to work for it.
Absolutely. Your turn, Kalpana. Moon or Mars, which excites you more?
Moon, I cannot tell us excitement, it was more of responsibility. Whenever we used to see moon, we used to have a thought, oh, what is this? When are you going to make us smile? Like, we used to have this one-to-one conversation with moon.
There are so many songs in
Not
Telugu,
that
Hindi,
sort
in
of-
all our languages.
Not that sort
Talk
of
to the moon.
conversation. Okay, we used to have a different sort of conversation. Okay, so Mars is, both are interesting in its own way. Moon also has a lot of potential science, actually. That's how we really targeted South Pole also. So it gives a lot of science and also learning towards how this whole thing got into existence with respect to existence also, because everything is preserved there. So moon is, that way it is interesting, but Mars has its interest, as I said, like life would have existed there. So a lot of signatures are there as there have been valleys, river flow and other, from the images what we are getting. So life would have existed there, and a lot of possibility for life to exist now also, like with the thin atmosphere being there, and the gravity is almost similar to here, the day duration is similar. So a lot of, with that life existing there and potential colonies getting established there, that way Mars is interesting. So that's it.
So Mars.
Mars. Moon is the goal, Mars interest.
Early bird or night owl when working on a project?
No, whatever it demands, there is nothing like what project demands, that is the time what we give, because many of our tests, what we used to do, it is whole night we have to be awake, because early morning we have to do the test. Those were the things like, when we landing is the dawn for moon actually. So it's a dawn condition, sun is rising there at moon. So whatever test we have to do here is a same sun illumination condition, we have to do the performance analysis. To do that, nearly it calls for 10 hours of preparation, pre-preparation. So the whole night we have to stay out and get the preparation done, and for that few seconds or minutes of the test, the preparation is involved. So that's when I remembered when madam was telling, like, so all preparation would have happened, and the sun should be exactly the same, the cloud should not be there. Wind, again, there is no wind there, wind should not be here. One of our nature used to make the total thing, it used to derail, and that's when, like, team also used to get that. When madam was answering, I was recollecting what all we went through in helicopter and tower crane, many tests we used to do like this. So time, if you say, is whatever project demands. Otherwise, yeah, not very early, but I generally rise around 5:30, that's 6. Around
That is
that
early.
time. That's the routine.
One word in which you can describe your feeling when Chandrayaan 3 was successful, when it landed.
I
Just
think
one
I
word.
already I answered.
One word.
Satisfaction.
And which is your favorite space movie or space book?
No, not favorite. Maybe
Which is more realistic or something? you think?
Interstellar was something which I really awed at when I saw the way 2000, I think 14, 15. So the way it was made, it was really interesting, and everything was very good in that resort. Even the music, background music, everything was so captivating. It held you to the seat. That was something. Of course, Mr. Madhavan's rocketry is something. Yeah. It was very good, well-made movie. That is also something.
Rocket Boys, what do you think of that?
Rocket Boys, I did not watch actually. That period, I think.
You were on the launch.
Last 5 years, we missed a lot, trying to catch up many things.
What is the most unexpected thing you learned working on any of these missions? Something that some other profession may not give you.
Okay, I don't know whether I can say as unexpected, but for example, this landing itself, you see, the way we built the lander second time when we built, like hundreds of points we thought, like whether if this fails, what to do, that fails, what to do. So we built a case where we used to think of n number of failures, probable failures, which can happen. And we were strengthening, and such that because that whole crux of the problem itself, if you know or not, the 20 minutes the day what you watched, like you, we also didn't have an option but to only sit and watch. What we did was only watching actually. We were on the console. The whole crux of the problem is the lander was built intelligent enough to do the autonomous landing. So that is all, what we did was that actually. We had to build an intelligent lander. So that was what we built actually. No, but your question, what you told us?
I said, what is the thing that you learned which you could not learn in any other
profession?
profession?
So I started with the failure, right? So the thing was, lander was built intelligent enough to handle all these failures. We thought about failures, and we built a lander. But that day what we saw was, it was a textbook landing actually. So it was a perfect landing. But what we did was actually, so many probabilities. So you build it more and more robust enough to handle. What you saw was a perfect landing. So I think the way you think and build a system, you may think many things, but after putting that much hard work or whatever required, what you're going to see is actually something perfect. I think this approach what we took, and finally what happened was something like, it is not unexpected, but something, what to tell, it's a learning or strategy.
Because it was robust.
Robust
That's why
enough.
it took the normal path.
Normal path. So that approach I can tell, but otherwise unexpected I am not able to recollect.
So, but I must say, I have to take a leaf out of your book, because when I called you both, I did not have any other plan. Honestly, I am not being facetious about it, because we made it happen. But the thing was, I wanted you both here today, and it happened, and I had no other probabilities. Now I am thinking, if this hadn't happened, what? I mean, even after we discussed and after you came on board, in case the flight hadn't taken off in time, in case your project director suddenly came and said, you have to be in this meeting. So I'm hoping.
She was almost in that.
So I would have offered a Zoom call or a Google Meet.
Yesterday I was really in such a situation, I was thinking I should not disappoint or derail the program.
So one piece of tech you can't live without. Generally, we would have said one piece of something in your bag that you won't leave home without. But I don't want to ask that kind of a question. So one piece of tech you can't leave without.
Tech is okay right now. Mobile is one thing, like it is always with us right now, like because we have to be connected. So mobile with all the features that it has is really handy, like whatever you want to know. Technically also I'm telling, anything is available in your, you need not go to library and search, everything is available with you. Of course, because of this, that has gone down. But nevertheless, whatever you want is available in your hand. So mobile is something is really helpful in all ways.
The last question. An important figure you would love to have dinner with?
Mr. MS Dhoni is one personality. No, are not for the sports aspect. I'm not a cricketer, or I don't know the nuances of the cricketer, but there are a lot of things I have really admired in him. Like as a cool captain, he's called. So how he could handle a stress situation in such a cool manner, how he can take decisions. See, the strength of a leader is taking the right decision in a crisis. So we had watched this in the World Cup, correct, when Mr. MS Dhoni brought the cup for us, the finals also. Like in crisis, how he takes the decision, and how he handles his team, how he can look at the potential of each player and optimally utilize that, properly identify the potential of the player. I think there are a lot of things about him, and there is a genuinity in him. So a lot of things. So I think we can have a nice chat, and I can also infer many things from him.
So with that, she hit a 6 and for us. Over to Sujita for question answer with the audience. Thank you so much, Kalpana. Thank you so much, Dr. Tessie.
Thank you, Priya.
But our audience will have many
I think
questions.
she has made a great effort as chairperson of Wiki Flow Hyderabad in making us participate here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Priya, ma'am.
Thank you, really, actually, thank you for this opportunity. I know how you were constantly behind and you were consistently trying. And no, it was only because of our hectic schedules we couldn't be. I was a little hesitant, but otherwise, a great audience. Entrepreneurs are always admired and interesting, and I've always admired young women turning entrepreneurs and making their dreams come true. So it's a very interesting audience. I'm happy to be, and I could meet TESSY Madam also. You have created that opportunity. Today only I'm meeting her in person. Thank you, and all the best for your flow activities as chairperson.
And questions from...
Thank you for an enlightening and informative session. The floor is now open to the audience for interaction with our guest speakers. Hina is ready with a question.
Before we can take the question answers, I apologize if I'm digressing. We heard about Incredible India. We have witnessed and heard incredible women. Can I please request all floor members to stand up and give you all a standing ovation, please? And can I take the question? Welcome, and like I said, our standing ovations could have continued and our hands could go red clapping. Thank you for being with us today. Having heard you people, and being an educationist, what is that one step in education for women to take up science in today's world? I mean, there are many, and with the curriculums like IB coming up where girls are just eliminating science out of their curriculum, what is that one step to step up education for women to get into being the incredible women that we witness today?
Today the world is changing, and our girls are getting better opportunity to know what is available, like the science STEM. So if one can nurture them with this knowledge that once you learn, things are different. Like the knowledge matters a lot. I can, from my own experience, is that I was a guidance designer, and then I made sure that that field is mine and an expert in that. So an forum where the design reviews happen, the very senior scientist, I'm a very junior scientist, but then you are talking with confidence what you have learned. So that matters. So even in the school level, if we can impart STEM education and tell the opportunities and give them the example of practical knowledge, that makes life totally different. We were all having textbook knowledge while reading the theorems, Newton's law and all. Why all these people were born? That was my feeling. So much of theorems and all, without understanding the real meaning of that. we have gone through our schooling. Coming to engineering, some understanding level came. I think that was our time. But today's kids are not like that. They are knowing the knowledge, and we need to guide them that these many opportunities are there in this field. And today's generation is showing the difference. Where are we not there? Girls are there everywhere, every field. So that way, that example as role models and achievers has to be shown to them. That's going to change their life.
And how much is AI now going to impart to this?
AI should, in my opinion,
how do you see that being positive? Do you see that being positive
should
or
be
negative?
there. It's a knowledge power. It's like a superpower, we can say, because some of us won't even understand what AI gets into, what the way it is coming up. Our children, that's an opportunity for them. This is the field which is coming from school level onwards. They should be. Every knowledge has both positive and negative. So everything, when a fire generated, it can light the lamp in a dark room. At the same time, it can destruct. So everywhere, this AI also has its own positive and negative. The way how you are going to utilize it. That's again, knowledge will make us do a good job. That's what I feel.
It was absolutely wonderful to hear the journey of two empowered women. I can only give you the title of Yukti, empowered, motivated, and moving forward. Thank you for your expose on your lives. I just wanted to find out, it's been, yours are very long projects. It has taken almost your full career to be on these projects, and you were motivated by your seniors and your team to continue. Did you ever feel a moment when you said, quit? Bas, ho gaya, let's go.
I didn't say quit, but my family said it's time that you may quit. Because the way I have gone through, there were a lot of, there's no media, no?
No. Yeah, we can understand office
pressure.
pressures.
Sometimes
call
it
pressures.
comes,
Yeah.
hidden agendas
Yes.
behind. Personalized stresses will come. So that's where you feel,
and especially in the scientific...
professional jealousy. This
Yeah,
is
and
also exists.
No, especially in the scientific committee, I know that community, I know that there are a lot of pressures. That was nice of your family to take charge, but I mean, you were so motivated that you said no. Because you're the ace, you're on the top. You are now going to teach AI. That this is what the subject is, you pass it on to others. Wonderful. Dr. Kalpana, can you tell us any moment of yours when you said, bus, I've done enough now, let me go? Or you're still motivated to Mars one?
Before we used to think like, once we finish this project, yes, should be again, not again, like that we used to think. But it's not so. It is just because of the, that momentary situations or that pressures what we used to undergo. But once we complete that, yes, again for us, even before complete that project is given and it has started and the journey is on. So those are all such, there will be definitely very tough and challenging moments in the journey. It can never be green always, right? Like there are so many things like we plan and there are moments we used to feel like all odds are against us actually, like everything is going against us. Those are the challenging moments, but we pass through, we sail through, and next project is on. And
yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Your dedication, where you have reached.
What all you narrated, that is not at all a requirement. To be a scientist, you need to be knowledgeable and dedicated to know your responsibility. I think that takes you, like she mentioned, from one project to the other, one responsibility to the other. Just be a scientist and be technically competent. That's only what matters.
So that is very essential. Like, if you have to be on par, woman or man, being technically competent and being knowledgeable enough, whatever required for the project, we have to keep ourselves equipped. Whatever required towards that, we need to keep inculcating that. I think if you, I don't call it a race, but journey also you think.
Yeah.
You think it as a journey, not as a race, but whatever required, we need to keep ourselves equipped. That is very essential.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
It was really wonderful listening to this, both of you who have been a part of such prestigious projects that had global recognition, and a great salute to you both. It was very interesting.
Thank you.
And I would like to know, normally, do you all propose any projects that might help, taking India forward as scientists individually? And if you have proposed, how is it, that you face challenges like bureaucratic procedures and then budgetary restrictions, and probably you must have faced all this. So at that moment, like, how do you go ahead and how do you pursue and see to it that we have seen in some movies that, the budget is given in peanuts and you have to make that in only, few lakhs of rupees. So these kind of things might have bothered you all as a group. So how do you deal with all this? And another question is, have you been like treated, say, as a woman scientist, what would she, do? I don't think she would understand this. Have you faced this kind of discrimination in your organizations? Thank you.
No discrimination. We are treated as, we were very fortunate to have very good visionary leaders. So, and definition of our projects, getting the proposal for these projects are of national importance. So, the government, your sanctioning authority, government also is a part of the system, wherein which we may come up with some innovative ideas. One of the type, I can say, is variant is, we have launched MARVs, that from Agni class. So with one single launch, multiple warheads, multiple RVs coming. So that technology to initially as a project mission designer and guidance, we were worked out and gone to the government. So where we had to tell them this is the capability which we will be as a technology. Now our PM, Prime Minister has announced the recent launch of it. So that's something which is required for the country. And for us, there is no denial and all. It's how the technology, because we are always looking at a technology which is not existing in our country, or what we need. And it is all government projects of national importance. So it comes, it's both the ways.
Exactly, like two questions you had asked. Yes, particularly when it comes to new technologies, always there are a lot of proposals, and starting from a newcomer to, it need not even be a senior engineer. We have a lot of technology demonstration projects. TDP is what we call it as TDPs here, because it need not be a complete satellite which is going to be new. What flies into that, there can be a number of new technologies. So these proposals can come from anyone, and organization will be highly encouraging towards that, because this is something need of the hour. So new technology is something which ISRO always encourages, particularly the youngsters. That is always there. It doesn't come from the top. Mission goals or such things comes from the top management, but with respect to technologies, anyone can propose and it can get executed. That is point number one. And second, definitely ISRO is the place for women to work, because there is never a thought. Actually, there is never a thought on the gender. Actually, you will forget. When you are there on the spot or in a meeting or anywhere, you will never remember. You are just a scientist or engineer or whatever it is. You will not remember your gender. I feel neither I will remember nor they will Remember, whatever it is, your knowledge, your attitude, your capability to how you execute, I think all these parameters only will weigh you. If you are not selected, possibly you lack something where we have to improve. It's only based on that you are put into a project or you're selected for a project. I think somewhere only then we need to introspect ourselves in case that's be it a man or a woman. I feel that's what is my experience in ISRO.
One last question before we close the session.
Okay, I'm ready with the last questions. Maybe. I got
Last but
no. It's truly amazing that there's no gender inequality because I mean I'm ex-media and it's supposed to be a progressive field, but we face it all the time. But that's not my question. Kalpana, I have something to tell you and I have a question to ask. One is MS Dhoni is in town today. He's playing a match.
he's here. If he has watched this, he may call her
Yeah,
for
so
the dinner.
in fact, I'm going to watch the match, so I probably will take a recording of you telling, you know, and try and show it to him. Kidding. My question to you.
It's fine, the whole country likes him.
Yeah, of course. So my question to you is, when we did something with a fraction of a budget, of the budget, didn't the other countries, I mean, I'm sure they have elite scientists and they would have their strategies. The end goal is something and you have different strategies. Our thinking, our approach. How is it that they have not figured that out and how is it that we managed to do this? You know, I'm sure they're also thinking of optimizing, you know, all of that. So what did we do different and how did we make it happen?
No, again, it is like the approach which matters. For example, see, they may get the total project maybe given out and it may be industry-made satellite where the total approach is different. See, it again, how you think matters actually. It's not that like no one is forcing us to make it budget or anything. It's not that someone was telling about, say, peanut budget or anything. It is not so. Like what is essential with the available resource, nothing less. See, when we make the budget, where we have to give the priority, that is given. Whatever is going to fly, the quality of the components, the quality of the system, the process adopted, it has to be the best because it has to be space proven, space qualified systems only will be flying. Where it is essential, you will be allocating the required budget. Where it is not essential, where what can be frugally utilized, that is where we try to optimize. So we are very clear on it is, the intention is not to reduce the budget or make it in this budget. Intention is to achieve the mission goal only. Towards that, we prioritize on what is essential, what is can be managed with what is available. I think that approach, this is what we follow. I don't know about
no, but something, I think something is there in our DNA, like you rightly said,
yes.
that, you know, our optimization, probably our thought process is slightly different from.
Yes, I feel so actually. That is in our DNA.
Okay. Thank you.
They have agreed to take few more questions, but please keep the questions very short. First, can we take the question from him? He's been there since the beginning. Please go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Malik Kasha, a EEE student from CBIT. First off, thanks for this incredibly insightful speech so far. So, immortality has been a looming topic of interest since times immemorial, and we are slowly paving our way towards that. Would you digitize your mind or, say, superimpose your consciousness onto an artificial neural network in order to continue contributing to the world of space and technology? Science and technology, and also for the satisfaction of bearing witness to whatever the future holds for us.
Would you digitize your thoughts onto neural network is what you told?
Yeah.
Yeah, conscious.
Consciousness?
Yes.
That's what, that is the question.
Yes.
We need to have an AI embedded here to answer that. No, actually, what exactly is your question? It's a little bit not clear to us what we should.
Sorry about that.
Can you come forward because we are not able to hear you properly?
Yes.
So would you digitize your consciousness onto, say, like a computer in order to continue contributing to the world of science and technology even after your physical body perishes, so that like just for like the satisfaction of bearing witness to what the future lies.
Why should we digitize our consciousness? Why I am not able to get your point.
Digitize is yes or no? Yes, we can probably, whether I should take up this job or not. That part of it you can digitize, yes or no.
Okay. Would you do so in order to continue contributing to science and stuff?
What do you?
Not very clear. Is it like you want to preserve the knowledge? Knowledge
Yes.
preservation?
Yes.
Whatever knowledge or whatever, we call it as a human book also. Are you referring to that?
Yeah.
It's like human book, knowledge preservation?
No, it's like, first of all, the scientific temperament in one individual, what it matters.
Okay.
So if you are passionate and conscious enough that you want to do this particular project, all your system, the brain, works for that. Means it gives a positive energy to include that in your whole body will work for that positive energy to take up that project.
All right. Thank you.
Are you okay with our answers? Otherwise, as I said, I have to have an AI chip in my brain to answer your question.
Thank you.
He had some mind.
Last question.
I'm not able to.
Dr. Tessie and Kalpana, thank you very much for gracing Priya's request to be here. And I'm speaking from all of our behalf that this was one of the best sessions and so inspiring. Something that we are able to see you what we always envision that what's going to happen, what is happening behind the scene. This is brought alive for us. My questions for you today comes from a child within me who I never knew how to ask. So please, if this sounds stupid to you or to anybody, please leave it and just answer. So I feel that when we see on the TV that this Chandrayaan is happening and it is landed and things like that, I'm sure you have done some testings behind. How does that happen in your place of work? Like those testings, are they always that big where the fields are there, or do you also have a small grounds or something? If you can shed some light or share some information on that. And second, there was an issue, Priya asked about aliens, but my question also is a similar type, that now we always see in movies and it happens in the real world. There's also a concept of transportation of man from one place to another. Can we think about something like that can happen in the future? So 2 questions.
One of my dream is that human being going to Mars. So it will happen. That's what I feel.
Okay, maybe for the first question. Yeah, actually, there are 2 aspects to that. See, during one of the questions I told, like what we are going to do on moon, we have to test it on Earth. So that's the first challenge, because towards this we adopted 2 approaches. One is you take the physical hardwares itself, equivalent of the physical hardwares, which is going to fly. You make a scaled down model of that. We call like a lander equivalent. We took it on a helicopter to Chitradurga. It's in Karnataka. So, and we created craters equivalent how it is on moon on the landing site. So such big craters, scaled down version of the craters were created. So moon-like environment was created. And the lander was carried on the helicopter. And whatever sensors which is going to operate there, and as I said, at the same timing, sun illumination conditions. So we were trying to bring it to a near realistic, of course you cannot bring the same, near realistic, whatever best possible. And the velocities also, you cannot have 1.5 kilometer per second velocity here, whatever possible with a helicopter. And you can create a hovering with helicopter. Hovering is something you are holding actually, balancing the gravity. So hovering conditions were tested. So this is one approach. You take the actual hardware models on the helicopter and similar trajectory you're trying to create and see whether all your sensors are performing. So we did lot of trials. This is not just one. N number of sorties There also failure, if this sensor fails, whether the other sensor is able to take the charge and execute. So like this, different cases with the actual hardwares we took and tested. Similarly, engines, actually engines were firing, right? It's not. So the engines also, along with engines, we had a tower crane, like what you say, big tower crane, what you see in the apartment construction sites, you would have seen a bigger version of that. And the engines, with the engine firing conditions, the complete lander was tested. So this is what, here also different test cases. This is the actual hardware involved in the test. This is called a special test, what we did. The legs also, leg is something very important. You're going to touch down, everything happened. Finally, when it touches down, the leg should carry that load and it should kill the energy absorption system, what we built in the landing legs. So different velocity conditions we dropped and tested whether the leg is able to handle. But this is one category of what you asked. But in this, we cannot test n number of cases because the hardware, how many times you can test. So this is where there is one more approach that is called simulations. So that is called on a software model, on a computer or anything, with Monte Carlo simulations. I think anyone involved will be knowing Monte Carlo simulations. Madam is expert in guidance. So we created lot of test beds for that, where you can test up to test up to the limit of failure, what you call. N number of failure conditions you can create and see if your algorithms and softwares are able to handle that. So this is called simulations. So these two, I would say, is the strength of the success of Chandrayaan 3. This gave the confidence that whatever robustness what we built, we have tested and we are confident that we can go ahead this time with 100% confidence. So I think this is what aided the overall Chandrayaan 3 program.
Yes, it's the same. We start with the software in loop simulation, trajectory, the full, then hills, the hardware in loop simulation. So where each of the subsystems are replaced by its own prototype equivalent to what is flying. So then we do the simulation studies. We would have launched missiles in simulation mode at different phases, more than 1,000 times before going there. Like Monte Carlo simulation, now the computing capability is so high. So earlier when I just joined the initial with the Fortran programming and all, execution of the program used to take more than 24 hours. We give the command for compiling and execution, can go back, have dinner and come back next day. Also your file would not have got fully executed. That was the time, even with the mainframe type of computers. Now supercomputers and capabilities, faster than fairies, faster than real time. Then came the real time concept and now it is faster than fairies. So that's the way it happens.
May I now request Senior Vice Chairperson Pratibha Kunda to deliver her vote of thanks.
Somebody there was wanting to ask a question. Yeah.
With respect to global standards in terms of knowledge or practice or processes, how much are we really Atmanirbhar in sense and word? Are we able to, are we competent or are we ahead? How do we benchmark our, the current knowledge that we have with respect to the rest of the world?
See, when you say in the elite club of nations who have launched space technology and things, we come in rank in 3, 4 and all. And technology-wise, there are some places where we are super. So that happens in any developing. And we can be proud that our country is totally getting geared up for a Make in India and Atmanirbhar approach, because that's the strength, that human strength, the resources we have, the brain we have, very high potential scientists and engineers and everybody. Our country as a amalgamation of scientific knowledge is there. So it's going to, from developing country to a developed nation, it's going to come in no time.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for being so patient and satiating our queries. So we are so glad that there is no gender discrimination at ISRO or DRDO. So my question is, like generally a male approach is always very individualistic, whereas a female approach is always inclusive, a family oriented, where they include everyone. So as a woman, how has your family-oriented thought process influenced your decision-making and ideas while working on any project? To both of you.
No, nobody from the family has influenced in decision-making of
No,
career
ma'am.
is different?
My question is not the involvement of family. My question is our approach, the way we think. The female approach is always inclusive, but the male approach is always individualistic. So it's about you, the way you think.
I don't agree to that. That's what I'm saying. The moment I enter my office premises, I'm a scientist. I do my job as a scientist. The moment I am out from there, back home, I'm mother of Tejas, or wife of so-and-so, or daughter of the parents. So that role changed naturally. I don't think there is anybody who has to tell you that part. We are very clear there is no mixing up of family and we don't discuss. Actually,
I think I couldn't frame the questions correctly. It's an individual thing. It's our mind, our approach towards any project.
No, we can't say that to a male scientist also. Like if you are saying, they are also part of the system, like father and mother. Like they also belong, but they may not be showing it out or something like that. Today, it is the approach what you take. As a scientist, we enter, we do the job, and then go back. And generally, we don't mix up. It's very difficult to mix up.
Are you saying like some family bindings may change or influence our certain decisions?
No.
Family binding
not bindings.
Or responsibilities?
Not bindings. As a woman, in our culture also, when we think of anything, our approach is always inclusive. Whether it's women on a boardroom.
What do you mean by inclusive?
Inclusive means taking everybody about every action.
We are not always about ourselves. Even at home, it's not about us. It's always about the others in the house. So does that make any difference when you as a project director making some decision, some important decision, that thought process somewhere,
I don't
impacts?
think so. The inclusiveness is very much important as a team when we work also. Being male or a female, I think let the lead be a male or a female. This inclusiveness is very essential when we are working as a team. I'm not sure. I don't think gender comes into picture.
We can't generalize our type of project works. So this project work is unlike the business world. It's slightly different. So our approach towards the projects and the team is totally different. That we work as scientists. So I take decisions it's on our own intuitive mind. We don't depend on somebody else saying you do this. I don't think. Being a knowledgeable person, you yourself have to judge. You cannot depend on someone else thing, because finally, as a project director, you have to take the role of and the responsibility. If anything goes wrong, you have to be taking your own decisions. So that stage, I think, whether male or female takes the same type of decision, the best decision we have to take.
On a lighter note, did you hear her son's name? Tejas.
Yeah.
Your daughter's Kalpana?
She's Rishita.
Rishita.
Okay, I think we will close now. Dr. Tessie has a flight to catch.
Yes.
And I am responsible to make sure she is on that flight.
Thank you so much, ma'am. A very good evening to one and all. Here are these two ladies who've broken all barriers and shown us that we can do anything when we put our heart to it. We couldn't have asked for better role models than them today. They both chose to walk the path less traveled by women at the time and age when not many would dare to, and provided and proved to that world that with skill and dedication, we can achieve anything. And failure is just a hurdle. And as long as we are trying, and we still will win one day. You had the whole world watching you, ma'am, and every move was counted. And you had to take so much of stress, and the team, the spirit, whether it was success or failure, you just had to take it and embrace it. And the long wait after you launch and you wait, and the pressure that keeps building, and it's unimaginable, and we salute the way you handled it so humbly. A great round of applause for these women who've achieved so much and made India proud. On behalf of Flow, I would like to thank Dr. TESSY and Ms. Kalpana for motivating us with this new energy. I'm sure our members here are charged to take on the challenges with a new zeal and inspired to move on in their journeys. I thank the past chairs for their commitment to always support the organization and continuously work to improve the chapter at every level. The committees that stand behind the work tirelessly to put the entire event together for us for a smooth flow of the event. The media for their support, and the members for their energy and enthusiasm to make the event a success. We thank our sponsors who've been there with us in our endeavors and support us. Thank you to our platinum sponsor, Tira, initiative sponsors, McLean, gold sponsor, Oro Jewels, silver sponsor, Krishna Jewelers, and creative partner, RBC. Please join us for high tea.